Hello my dears, welcome back to another video. So today's topic is going to be addressing a situation that has been going viral online. I'm sure that many of you have seen this video.
So I just got an email saying pretty much a threat saying they know where I live. And what scares me the most is they have got my daughter's details on the email, like what time I leave to drop them to school, pick them up. And it's not a coincidence because both of my daughters, they go to two different schools, so they know. They've given the school details and everything. So yeah, my daughters are involved now in this. As some of you might know, that my car was damaged in this whole thing. I was getting not very nice videos and now emails with a lot of details on that email. So I'm done. I don't want to do anything. I'm not going to talk about Jeffrey Marsh. I've deleted everything, removed it. If you guys want to go ahead, but please don't come to my house. You just get on with your life, I'll get on with mine. You guys want me to say I'm sorry? Fine, I'm sorry. Please don't come at me, don't come to my house, don't do anything with me, because I'm just one person, and specifically 4 or 5 of you have kind of done stuff. Like some of you have found old pictures of me and uploaded it on TikTok without my hijab. So you guys have done that. I know you guys are gonna take the mickey out of this video. So, but my main thing is, please don't continue this. I'm sorry. Please don't come for my kids.
Now, I'm not going to be naming the content creator who posted that video or her social media handles because I don't really want to focus this video too much on her because of the harassment that she's been receiving for speaking out on this topic. However, I do think it's really important for us to still talk and address the situation because I do think this is a much bigger problem. Part of that problem is our obnoxious obsession with identity labels, as well as the grotesque fear tactics that some people will use on people who they dislike or they disagree with. So the creator made some videos voicing her concerns about the content being made by another content creator named Jeffrey Marsh. Jeffrey Marsh has been criticized by several people at this point because their content appears to be aimed at children.
I want to talk to the kids. Your parents made mistakes. You can't blame the parents. Of course they can. I'm just concerned about the children. Your parents screwed up. If you do not have a family that loves you, I'm going to be your family. You are safe. I really do love you. I'm not playing a character here. I see the real you. I know you. People always say, Jeffrey, it feels like you're talking right to me. And that's because I am.
Now, there have been some content creators who have come to Jeffrey's defense, arguing that Jeffrey does not make content for children and that Jeffrey's doing some kind of therapy technique or something in which you talk to an adult as if they're a child in order to help them process their childhood traumas. Sure, we'll go with that. That's exactly the impression I get too when someone regularly opens their videos with, "Hey kids, hi kids," and projects a very kid show presenter style energy in the way that they speak about the topics they discuss within their videos. I totally get the impression that it's targeted at adults and not children. And I'm sure there are plenty of adults who love to be referred to as kids and like to be greeted as, "Hey kids," every time they open up a video.
Hi kids. Hey kids.
That happens all the time, I'm sure. Now, when you also take into account that TikTok is an app that is known for predominantly being used by minors and teens, it just doesn't really check out, does it? Now, I'm almost convinced that the people who completely dismiss the concerns that people have about Jeffrey's content might be so open-minded that their brain has just fallen out. Because you can't honestly tell me in good faith that you've watched Jeffrey's content and you genuinely cannot understand why parents have concerns about it. You can't understand at all why they have those concerns. There's no basis whatsoever for the concerns they've raised. Okay. So when the creator voiced her concerns about Jeffrey's content, people retaliated by vandalizing her car. They also then posted images of her without her hijab on social media. They then followed her to be able to log her movements so that they were able to tell her what schools her children go to and when she takes them there and drops them off, etc. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. When I first heard her explaining this, the first thing that came into my mind was unemployed. Because I'm so sorry, there is no way that you are a hard-working, tax-contributing person with bills to pay during a cost of living crisis, might I add, and you have the time to stalk a mother while she's running errands. I think the same thing when I see people who are constantly super gluing themselves to things. Unemployed. Because people with real responsibilities and jobs generally don't have the time to do things like this. This is very much the behavior of a depressingly unemployed person. So personally, I would recommend getting a job. It won't fix all of your problems, as it's very apparent you have many, but I do think it would be a more productive way of spending your time rather than stalking a mother while she runs errands and then threatening her and her children. I'm just saying, it's just a suggestion. You don't have to take it. Now, the concerns around Jeffrey Marsh's content are nothing new. As I said at the beginning of this video, many people have criticized Jeffrey's content, in particular parents, and even schools as well have sent emails to parents telling them to be careful and mindful of what their children are watching on TikTok, and have actually specifically stated Jeffrey Marsh as one to look out for.
This is absolutely astounding and disgusting. I get parent emails like everyone else does about their kids at school, but everyone has been warning people for ages about the TikToker Jeffrey Marsh, but you do not expect to actually get messages from your children's school. That red bit like at the top is just where I've like scratched out my child's school. But yeah, look, it's actually saying about what a danger he is. So everyone who was like pointing him and saying about him being a wrong, and we all were, he is. I'm glad they've outed him, and I'm glad they're warning parents out of him on this app, and I hope this app will now remove him.
So this isn't something that's like a fringe topic. This is something that people have been discussing for a long time, and it's something that a lot of people have concerns about. So why are people concerned? What is it about Jeffrey's content that has led a lot of parents to be concerned, and a lot of teachers as well to send emails warning their parents about Jeffrey? The type of things that are said within these videos do very much seem very similar to the type of tactics that parents are usually warned about. So there are sites where you can find out, how people typically prey on kids, and they tell you all of the things to look out for. So some people have pointed out that some of Marsh's videos seem to fall in line with many of the things that they are often warned about, such as being a sympathetic listener to the child, such as trying to find ways to be alone with the child, like directing them to go over to your Patreon so that you can discuss things with them there that you can't discuss on TikTok, as well as isolating the child from their family members by encouraging them to go no contact. So all of these things naturally have raised a lot of red flags. And as we know, a lot of the time when children fall victim to this kind of behavior, it is by people who build a trusting relationship with them on the internet. The annoying thing about all of this is how people are so insistent on making it about identity. We should be able to criticize anyone who exhibits those kind of behaviors regardless of what their identity label is. I do also find it very ironic how the same people who complain about hierarchies and who complain about privileged groups are seemingly becoming the very thing that they hate. They don't seem to want to actually dismantle any hierarchy. No, they just want to flip it upside down and put the people who they want at the top. They don't have a problem with privilege, they just want the people who they like to have the privilege. Because I think it became clear to many a long time ago that those who fall within specific identity groups are deemed as a protected class, and therefore they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. They cannot be touched and they cannot be criticized, because if you do, then well, they'll vandalize your car and threaten your kids. I think I now understand why privileged white people are suddenly now adopting all of these new identities. I feel like I should clarify what I meant when I said privileged white people, because I understand that we're currently living in a time where some people believe purely by being white you are automatically privileged. Now personally, I don't believe believe that. And so that's not what I meant when I said that statement. When I said privileged white people, I was referring to a very specific demographic of people. I'm referring to the posh toshs. You know, I'm referring to the people who come from more affluent backgrounds. Mummy and daddy had a lot of money, so they had a very sheltered upbringing. And so because of that, they've never really experienced any real struggle, any real hardship. And so they like to create their own. So yes, those are the ones I'm referring to. I think I now understand why privileged white people are suddenly now adopting all of these new identities. Because my God, it certainly does give you a massive promotion in terms of where you land within the oppression hierarchy. Because who would have ever thought that a white male would have more social capital than the South Asian Muslim woman? Who would have thought? Could this be the infamous white privilege I've heard so much about? No. This feels more like alphabet privilege. What is it with these modern activists and their amazing skill at causing more problems than they fix? We've got black activists creating more racism, and then we've got the LGBT plus activists who are causing the decline in LGBT acceptance. Oh, you didn't know about that? Well, apparently since around 2016, LGBT plus acceptance has been declining. And guess which demographic is declining amongst the most? Us. The youngsters. Millennials and Gen Z have the steepest decline in LGBT acceptance. Do you know how skilled you have to be to make the youngest generations within society become less tolerant of you? And when you dig deeper into these surveys, you learn that millennials and Gen Z don't necessarily have a problem with the LGB part of the acronym. It's more so the TQ plus portion of it. And I assume the reason why that is because of stuff like this. There are trans people who just want to get on with their lives. They don't want to be viewed as stunning and brave. They don't reject biological reality, and they don't demand that everybody else do. But unfortunately, they are being represented by a very loud and often very aggressive minority. Many of the trans activists aren't even trans. I've already voiced my feelings before about allies, and it seems as though black people are not the only ones with very problematic allies. But yeah, these activists are doing a very, very good job of helping LGBT plus acceptance decline. To the point where you have people like Rose of Dawn, Blair White, and Buck Angel, and many others trying to do damage control. I do sometimes find myself wondering, what exactly are these activists fighting for? What is their cause? Because so far it seems like all they've managed to really do is help us regress rather than actually progress. I mean, let's look at their records so far. LGBT plus acceptance is declining. They've led to a division within the LGBT plus community because now we've got organizations like Gays Against Groomers, the LGB Alliance, and the Lesbian Project, all movements that have begun in order to fight for the legacy that the original gay rights movement fought for. Because it's now being threatened by a minority of militant activists who think that vandalizing a woman's car and threatening her children is how you achieve progress. And what exactly was her crime again? Oh yeah, being concerned about an adult who regularly starts their videos with "Hey kids" and talks about going no contact with your parents. So again, I have to ask, what is it exactly that you are fighting for? And what is it that you claim to represent when you are causing divisions within your own community? I recently watched a really good video by Amir on the general topic of the LGBT plus community, and I thought that his deep dive on the subject was very interesting and very good. I will put a link to it in my description because I think it's important for people to realize that the loud militant voices you see online, regardless of what group they're claiming to represent, whether they're claiming to represent black people or they're claiming to represent gay people, trans people, whatever, they don't speak for the vast majority of us. And so I think sometimes it's easy to see the loudest and think, oh, this is all of them, and then start having negative views about the whole group as a whole, which I think is a big problem because there are a lot of level-headed, reasonable people, and it's just unfortunate that the ones who get the most airtime are crazy. Now, I'm going to conclude this video by saying this. Now, I have seen some people criticize the creator for apologizing and for pleading with them because they don't think that she should have done that. They think that it was showing weakness, etc. But the thing is, I can understand why she did it, and I completely understand and sympathize with her as to why she did it. I mean, they vandalized her car. They've sent her threatening emails with details of where her children go to school and what time she drops them off to school, etc. They are disrespecting her religion and showing pictures of her on social media without her hijab. And also, ultimately, as a mother, your biggest priority is the safety of your children. In order to protect your kids, I think most mothers would do that. I saw the video where Blair covered this topic and it cracked me up. There's a part where Blair White goes, "Girls, strap up. You can buy a gun at Walmart for $200, and I died." It's just such an American thing to say. Girl, just buy a gun at Walmart. Now, I don't know how much many of you know about England or the UK, but buying a gun is a very challenging task. It's very, very difficult to buy a gun legally in the UK. We can't just stroll into Aldi and buy a gun, okay? It's not really how it works. Like, my fellow Brits, imagine for a second that you could just casually stroll into a supermarket and also just casually buy a gun. Like, I think when it comes to guns, the UK and the US just live in two completely different worlds. Yeah, it just doesn't work like that. So unfortunately, Blair, I think, you know, appreciate the advice, but she can't really use it because it's not feasible in the UK for her to do that. But yeah, no, but that just cracked me up. When I saw that in the video, I just found it so funny. But yeah, but I do really hope that this creator realizes that there are a lot more people on her side than people who are against her. I think if there's anything that I've learnt is that whenever a group of people have to practice censorship, whenever they have to practice deplatforming, whenever they have to enforce these kind of fear tactics, it's because they know that they don't have a hold on the majority consensus, right? Because if you knew that most people agree with you, you wouldn't try and go to these extents to silence people. And so I don't want people to be scared to speak their minds on stuff. You don't have to be wacky like us who put them out on the internet, but I think that at the very, very least, don't lie, right? Don't say things that you don't believe in. Don't put random crap in your bio that you don't believe in. Do you know, I always find it really funny when people put BLM in their bio, right? And then they get like accused of like being racist or doing something or whatever. And then all of a sudden the BLM just disappears. Funny, so funny as hell. But yeah, but just don't do things that you don't believe in and don't say things that you don't believe to be true. I guess ultimately what I'm saying is don't be fake, yeah? Most people care about protecting kids. Most people care about safeguarding children. Even the most hardened criminals in prison draw the line at kids. There's a reason why kiddie fiddlers don't do too well in prison, okay? Even the criminals are like, nah, bro, that's a bit too far. And part of effectively safeguarding children is being suspicious, because people who are very diligent about protecting children understand that you're always better off safe than sorry. It's usually people who don't have kids who have the most nonchalant attitude about child safeguarding. Many children get hurt whenever adults take a very lax approach to safeguarding kids. So I personally don't think there's such a thing as being too cautious when it comes to protecting minors. And so I very much support anyone who prioritizes the safeguarding of kids and who feels compelled to raise the alarm on some concerning behavior for us to investigate. Maybe they're wrong about their suspicions, but like I said, in order for you to effectively safeguard children, it requires you to be suspicious, because you're better off investigating and finding nothing than never investigating and allowing someone to harm kids. Now, I really hope that this content creator is able to find peace. I hope that people now leave her alone now that she's released this video. Although I highly doubt that they will, because bullies are not motivated by morality. They're motivated by power and control. One of the best ways to have power and control over someone is to target something that you know is precious to them, such as their children. But don't get it twisted. These people are absolute cowards. They hide behind their pathetic little emails and hide behind their pathetic anonymous social media accounts. And whenever they show up to protests, they're always covering every inch of their faces. How stunning and brave. But anyways, that is really it for this video. I just had to share my thoughts on this because I think the whole situation is really disgusting, to be entirely honest with you, because this woman never ever once spoke about Jeffrey's identity or never once disrespected Jeffrey's identity, because it's not important. What's important is what Jeffrey's doing. And regardless of what your identity is, if you're doing something very questionable, people should be allowed to question it. The idea that some people should be allowed to get away with behavior that other people wouldn't be allowed to get away with is absolutely ridiculous. You either want equality or you don't, but this is not equality. This is just as bad as when rich people get away with like all sorts of dodgy stuff because they have a lot of money. I don't see the difference. But yeah, anyways, I said that's it for this video and then I kept on talking, but now I'm actually going to stop talking. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, then like and subscribe. I am also on other socials and you can check out my music. I'll link all of that in my description. Let me know what your thoughts are on this situation in the comments. Thank you very much for listening to me rant today, and I will see you in my next video.